And welcome everybody. So we're going to do something a little different today. So welcome to Get in the Herd After Hours. After Hours. It's funny, I don't have the headphones on, Justin, so I don't hear that echoey sound. Um, I'm your host, Nathan Mitchell. Today we have a special thing that we're doing today. We're bringing our usual Wednesday family group here live so that individuals can participate through the different medium that we use here. So, of course, we're on Facebook Live right now. We've also got Zoom hooked up, and we have with us our certified substance abuse counselor, a person in long-term recovery, Moses Wright, who's going to be leading this family group today. And, of course, we have what's a good adjective for Karen? Karen Melcher, one of my favorite people, who continues to come and show up, alumni here at McShin as well, and continues to show up and be here. If you look up at the top there, that little eyeball on the screen there, that shows the number of people who are watching live right now. So we'll kick it off to Moses over here. When you guys talk and ask questions, please make sure to get into the microphone so that you can be heard across the different. Yeah, you can use any of the three here. And, we might have some people coming in. We're going to do this, see how this particular format works and iron out the things. But really, the thing is that when we have people together, we're forming communities. So however that looks. So Moses, thank you for bringing this all together today. Welcome, everybody.
Well, thank you, Nathan, for allowing us to be a part of this podcast, which is really important, especially since it goes out to so many people. I think about family members, loved ones of our participants. And last week we talked a little about love and what is love, and how does it fit when you have a family in the throes of this disease. And I believe it's a disease. I think of it as a disease because I learned some time ago, Jelinek developed a chart, and it showed the signs and symptoms of addiction. And that it was some years ago that I was introduced to that, and I still like that particular chart because from where it comes, from where it starts, with recreational drinking, if you will, on down to the very end where a person is deep in the throes of addiction and their lives have become unmanageable. And what I found out is as long as a person uses, there's no way to go but down. A person who's been diagnosed with this condition, if they continue to use, there's no other direction to go in but down. That's the only thing that happens. We have a couple of guests that are in the back of the room. I wish one of you would come up and join us because I need you to participate with us as we talk about how this condition affects families. I'd like to introduce also Karen, who is actually the brains of this operation. she, she brings so much. Karen, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I'm Karen. I am a person in recovery, and I was a participant at McShin. I checked in on March 30th, 2017. Sorry. Setting the mood with the microphone. Checked in 2017 and went through the intensive program, went into step-up housing, started working for McShin, and at one point I was the director of judicial programs running the recovery program in Pamunkey Regional Jail. I have since moved on career-wise, and I am going back to school now, and it's all because of recovery, which got started right here. So I'm very grateful and to be an alumni of this organization. And I like to come and give back whenever I can. I've been sitting in with Moses doing these groups for a little over 3 years now. So I'm grateful to be a part of that.
Thank you,
Sure.
Karen. I'd like to ask the loved ones who are here to introduce yourself and give us some idea of what it has been to experience this condition.
I'm Scott. My son is new here. He just joined yesterday, and what's it like? It's tough. It's tough watching. It's tough being helpless to help. It's tough watching somebody I love, not only him but my wife and my other son deal with it. It's hard. It's a hard thing to understand how someone can continue to do the things that get them in trouble, and again feel powerless to help.
When you mention powerlessness, it reminds me of the first step of the 12-step programs, and it talks about how we're powerless over the drug that we consume. And for family members, I think the first step says you're powerless over drugs and the person who is using. That's tough to take, to be powerless over someone that you love and to see their behavior take them further and further down. That is tough. I agree with you.
It's something that you feel like you can see it, and you wish they could see it from your eyes, and see the impact that it has on everything that they do, and you see the potential, and you see the good times, and you hang on to those, and the good times are certainly there, and the memories and the promise, and you just want them to see that there is a life outside of that, and you just want them to come to the realization. And I think we're so hopeful that this organization can help him see that, and that he embraces it, and comes out of this a stronger individual, and can see by example, if you will, that there is a way to get out of this cycle, and have a good life. And anyway, I've talked enough.
Well, and I think about the participants and myself, even as a person in recovery. It pains us so much to disappoint you. The power of the drug keeps us, compels us, draws us, pushes us to continue to use, in spite of the harm that we see going on around us. When I think of getting into recovery, I think about how dependable the drug becomes. And it's the most dependable thing that I've ever experienced, because it works, and it works every time.
And it works even when it doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
Mm.
Just the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Sandy. My son, Peter's been a participant with McShin. He entered the program July 20th. I've been there where my son's been a newbie. He still is a newbie, as we like to call it, or I call it.
Mhm.
And my first thought process was, mine and my husband's was, not us.
Mhm.
Why us?
Mhm.
We come from an affluent home.
Mhm.
How did this happen to us? And this disease does not discriminate. It does not. There's no why. We know why. But all we can do is hope and hope he sees the potential he has. And like you said, Karen, and Moses, the drug gave him the pain. It made the pain go away. And what he has learned at McShin in the few weeks he's been here, is what he has to do this on his own. He has to want and realize that that the drug and the disease, there is hope. There is another way about it. And is this going to be his only, is this the only road he's going to go down? Maybe not. We don't know. The saying of one day at a time. But what we've learned here at the family meetings is learning to what we can do. There's only so much we can do. And we've had to turn to a program like this because what me and my husband have done has not worked. We can't enable him. What we thought is love is not enabled him. And Moses did give us an assignment last week, and I've done it. So I don't know. I'll wait until he wants us to share.
Right.
Because it is important for us to do that and to realize as a family what's best to do. What can we do to best love our son and love our participant? Is sometimes love at a distance.
Yeah.
We call it a family disease.
It is.
The person using using the behavior and everything that goes along with that addiction touches everybody that cares and the whole entire family. So, the idea that the participant needs to be in recovery, my hope is that the family understands there's recovery available for them too, because, there's trauma. There's trauma behind all of this. There's a lot of hurt, and hopefully we can help with easing some of that, understanding, learning.
I think it's important that the family also understand they have to raise their hands and say, I need help as well. I think that's a big component of it. And I like the fact that this program has that component with it, because every program that I've ever seen, that is something they say that, we need help too. We need to heal as a family. And that's something we've learned. My 13-year-old, his brother is here and joining in and seeing that, his brother is not alone, that a lot of people suffer from this disease. And us also showing our participant that we are here because we want the help. It's showing him that, hey, they're here wanting that help. Then, hey, I need to sit here and be a part of this process too. And we're here to support him. I mean, it's my anniversary, my wedding anniversary. And where are we? We are here because why? It's important to us because we need that help too. So.
One thing I've learned is that, several things actually, is that when a person is diagnosed with this condition, first off, it's primary. What that means to me is that the using is the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's chronic, meaning it just doesn't go away. It stays there with the person as long as they use. It's progressive, meaning it gets worse as the person continues to use. Oh, as a matter of fact, it gets worse whether they use or not. Once diagnosed with the condition, it just continues to use. Meaning, if a person is away for 6 years and comes back and decides to use again, it's not that they used as though they're just beginning, but they use as though they're picking up right where the disease is now. It just starts back again. And in a couple of days, we'll see it. Yeah. And the last part is that it's fatal unless treated. Yeah, it's fatal unless treated. Mhm. Okay. Karen.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Oh, I was thinking about when you were saying fatal, I was thinking about it is fatal in a lot of different ways, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and it can be physically. So, bottoms, when we hit a bottom, hopefully.
What's a bottom?
Well, I don't know because they all seem to have a trap door.
That's right.
Someone said a bottom is when you can't bounce back.
Yes.
Maybe maybe
Right.
we could use that definition.
Yeah. Are you signaling to me?
Yes. Sorry.
No, that's good. What is a bottom? A bottom is when I stop digging.
Okay.
That's a definition I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what I've heard, the best one that I've heard is when a person no longer bounces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
unable to bounce. And to me, that's bone crushing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when my surrender came, when I was whooped, when I had enough. I just couldn't go any further. What I'm convinced of is when a person gets an opportunity to see recovery happening for others, then the hope begins to happen. I'm thinking of the question I asked last week. What is love? What is love? And when I think of that, and this is a loved ones group, so no doubt that a person cares about their loved one. How do we continue to care when it becomes enabling? What is enabling? How are we not helping? How about love? What's love to you?
Do you want to go?
I'll go.
Being there, being there, no matter what.
No matter what.
It's you want so bad to treat him like a glow stick and grab him and shake him till the light comes on. But you realize he's a grown man now, and that's not going to get you anywhere.
And listen to the expression, shake him until the light comes on. Love, right? It gets to be desperate.
Again, when you see what it does to the other people that you care about, and you want so desperately for them to see that, it's just, but you can't give up. You can't give up. And that's why we're, again, so hopeful that, again, he can see and maybe feel a little something about, what we're seeing and feeling. And again, I guess they think it's fun and games, but it's, well, again,
it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job.
I'm sure.
And that's the misconception that folks who are using are having fun. When in fact, for me, it was, I was trying to get relief, and it turned on me. And what I found was that I was continuing to go down, down, down. The loved ones, as I've seen, for myself included, they feel the same way as you do. They realize that they're inflicting harm on you, but can't stop. Again, the desperation. How do I keep going and not do the same thing? And it's just a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it becomes a real cycle of shame that just repeats itself. I can't seem to change what I'm doing. I see that it hurts you. It makes me feel bad about myself. I don't like to feel bad about myself. This gives me a little bit of relief, but doing this makes me feel bad about it. It's a vicious cycle.
Like that hamster wheel.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a great description of it.
Would I be able to speak on this for a second?
Yeah.
Sure.
You said when it's fun and games, and honestly, for me, when it started, when I started using it was fun.
Yeah.
It was, I was having a lot of fun. But then it got to a point where my brain and my body wouldn't let me do anything without it, and it got beyond a point of desperation. It got to where life wasn't worth living unless I was somehow, chemically engaged, and when it gets to that point, it's so far on the opposite end of fun and games. You can't believe how you got there. You're disgusted with yourself. At least I know I was. It gets so far beyond, the point of a nightmare that you don't know what to do. You don't know how to pull yourself. You want to stop, but you can't. It's almost like an impossibility.
Beyond a nightmare.
Beyond a nightmare. It ruined everything for me. I had so much, I came from a decent neighborhood. My parents put me through good schools. They did everything they could for me, and they thought that they had failed because of my disease. They thought that they kept asking themselves, what did we do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything right. You did the best you could. It's not something that's on your back. It's not something that you could have, they couldn't have done anything differently, and it literally took me losing absolutely everything and having no hope left for anything before I came here, and once I came here and just threw myself into this, I'm happy now, like I can look at myself in the mirror again and not hate what I see. And I'm, I hate to use this word because there is a stigma, but I'm a junkie, man. That's what I am. And as a junkie, you don't want to look at yourself, but I know that that's who I am, but that's not who I've become, and, yeah, it's a one day at a time thing. So yeah, I just wanted to interject. So
Appreciate it.
Can I ask a question on
Yeah.
that? Justin,
yeah.
who did you have lunch with or dinner with was it over the weekend or? couple days ago. You had,
Yeah.
yeah,
My mom and dad.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, right? Because
Yeah.
if I may, Moses was in the room the day that I got here. Sitting down in the men's program director office with Bob, who was the program director at the time, and I was with my mom, and I had just spent 2 months in jail, and between jail and coming down here from Northern Virginia, I had a week. And man, did some people really hold on to me because I didn't do the thing that I really wanted to do, which was go out and use. But I had spent some time in jail and lashing out at everybody. I mean, I hung up with my mother on the phone. She hung up on me at one point. We were not communicating effectively. And that week when I got out, I needed her help, and I was fortunate. I had some, it happened to be McShin that helped me communicate with my family, because I come from a good background. I come from good people who are very service to this and that. And she's got a great job and a nice house, and none of that mattered to me when I was doing stuff. And so somebody had to help me, and they did that. We came down here, and I remember I did not want to be in the car with her that trip from Northern Virginia, and to sit there and listen to her. And she dropped me off here with a week's worth of bed fees, a bag of groceries and a bag of clothes, and that was it. Good luck. And she did end up paying for a month's worth of my bed fees, but she left me to find myself. And as a 41-year-old man at the time, I was really struggling, because all I knew was the self that I was identified with all that using and all that craziness. And so, she left me here, and she let me live. She let me discover myself, and she let me do these things. And in the meantime, she got involved. I have a brother in recovery, and she also got involved with a 12-step support group for herself, so that she could understand better the conditions of the family disease, and to help herself in the recovery process. And now, I was on the phone with my mother yesterday afternoon. We were talking about our trip to New York coming up on her birthday in October. And my sister texted me yesterday afternoon, inviting me to dinner me and Justin over to dinner on Friday night. So it's like I have these relationships with my family now, but it was only after she gave me the freedom to find who I am without trying to fix, manage, control everything for me, because I was happy to let her do that. Even as a 41-year-old man, I was happy to let her do that. But I was miserable when I had to do it myself, until I learned how to do it myself. And I discovered what real happiness can be. So I knew what freedom can be.
Yeah.
Not necessarily always happiness.
Yeah. And the codependency that is so much a part of families. I know you want to talk about love.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that we as families have to understand. There's an addiction. There's a reason. We can't fix them. They have to want to fix themselves, not fix, but understand, because there's a variety of reasons why our loved ones use. My son was he was trying to cope with the pain, because he had a co-diagnosis, but again, still, it's either use drugs or use the right drugs. What are the right drugs? And I say that because he didn't, he needed to understand the difference and want to know. And I also, we have to understand and talk about it and know that, it's okay. And I think that's a big thing too, is the stigma is they don't want to say, well, not me. It's not me. It's okay, for him to raise his hand and say, this is my life. This is what I've been living with. And it's okay. I'm not shameful of that. I'm not for him. I'm not disappointed in him. I'm not, I'm not ashamed for him to say that my son's in a recovery program. It is what it is. But like Moses had said, what does love mean? Love means a variety of things for a lot of different people, but for us as a family, it means having that serenity and peace in one's life. It means I tell my son all the time, I don't want to bury you, but I'm not going to bury you. As far as I want him to know that we're always going to be here for him, but yet not enable him. He needs to understand, but yet we need to understand our boundaries with him. It means being surrounded by positive influences.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
It means being surrounded by positive influences and positive people. And that was huge for us. I spoke with part of our family group is understanding that, we can enable him. But he doesn't want to be enabled. And that's the thing. He wants the help. And that's when I can intervene and say, not intervene, I shouldn't say that, but okay, you want to, he's raised his hand and okay, how can we help you? And that's where we found McShin. It also means not allowing others' decisions to affect inner peace. And that was huge. And understanding that also means love means also setting those healthy boundaries. And understanding that, their decisions may not always jive with ours. As hard as it may seem, we sometimes have to love them from a distance. They are our children, and I love my son with every bone in my body. I do. But we can only give them the tools as much as we can. But it's, hey, we can only, do with what we can, as much as I can say. I know it's difficult sometimes, but one of the families was right. We can only do what we can. We'll help them as much as we can, but we will not enable. Helping and enabling are two different things, two very different things. So,
what I think about as you talk is that the loved ones have know how to push the buttons, and it makes sense to me because they've learned, they've been given that. And so whatever
They installed them.
Yeah, they install. Thank you, Karen. They install the buttons, and
There's an app for that.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as keep your hand off of that button because they're used to it. And what loved ones are used to is responding from that place of pain, loss, because the child is no longer there. This is not the child. Spiritually, the person is gone because they are attracted to the drug. The drug does everything for them. That isn't true, but that's the way that the person who's addicted will pursue it.
right.
Yeah.
But they need to know, and I tell my son all the time, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the addict.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing. But yet I know it's a disease.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that he needs to understand that there's another way. There's, but he needs to want it. And clearly, because he's been here for a few weeks and he has seen that, hey, there is another way. And that's, again, the first thing he has said is, wow, there's people that have been using for years. Mm. I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to be that path. And I think he needs to see that from his eyes. I can't make him see it, but, and I'm grateful that he's been able to see what others have been through. And and my son has been in jail. He has been in that road, and he's like, hey, I don't want to be there, but he's been able to he's been able to work and see and understand, and he's not wearing a big letter A or or whatever on his chest, but he understands that, hey, my past has made me where I am today, but I don't want to continue on that same path, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. I think of the times that I get to talk with them and listen to them
right.
and hear how they struggle with making sense of reality, because where they are is not reality. It's almost impossible for a person to learn to do something that they don't know how to do. In my opinion, that's what learning is about, and how to get that opportunity to learn. When I think of that awful word, denial, the person doesn't even realize where they are. And so to learn how to do something different often takes a while. And it takes some encouragement, it takes some pain, and it takes others showing them how to make that change.
I think that's what McShin does really well is, being with peers that have some experience and can say, I've been where you are, take my hand, come on, we'll get through this. McShin does that really well. I was thinking about the nature of this disease of addiction. It's complex and it's really complicated, and it's got four main components. There's a biological component. Some of us have a predisposition genetically. There's a psychological component. I don't filter information the same way someone without this disease does. The way I process things my thinking is different. There's a social component, from the family to the school to the neighborhood to the work environment to the grocery store people that you interact with on a regular basis. There's just this social component of who I'm around. And then there's this spiritual component, because at the end of the day, I have this spiritual malady and I'm trying to use an outside substance to make it okay. But it's an inside thing. It's a complicated disease. I just wanted to share that.
Yes, thank you for sharing it.
I thought it would be a little helpful to get a little understanding of what exactly we're all dealing with.
And the understanding, the learning, the process, no one knows how long it will take. But to stay in recovery is where I think we get the best opportunity to practice how to live with each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I may, because there's some comments up here, and I'd like to get to the comments, but and there's a thunderstorm going on out there. So if we go dark, I'm sorry. Scroll back, Justin, back to towards the end there. Debbie Rosenbaum, who is a chairman of our board actually, and she's a family member of a loved one who is an alumni of McShin, and she says, "Love wins. Education is love for family members to help support and heal." And she watches the show a lot, and she participates and has hosted the show actually in the past, family groups. But she's been in y'all's seat and continues to come back and continues to participate and show up for herself and for her loved one.
She's wonderful.
Yeah. And Siobhan Allen here, she says unconditional love and release of expectations for your child or family member is hard, but essential to helping ones who are addicted to grow. And ooh, and I'll give you an example from myself. My mother, who I have a great relationship with now, very open, honest, and loving relationship. Early in recovery for both of us, she did her 12 steps, I did my 12 steps. We would come at each other, and we would talk about things, and she would say, one day at a time, as I'm, hearing in the groups, and she was hearing, and then within the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 sentences, it would be, well, what's your 5-year plan? And so, it took us both learning how to let that go more so that we could, get to the heart of it, and to help each other, that give each other freedom to grow. And so I love what you said, Siobhan. Now I also know a little something. The two of you, you both have you're both are sons here. I happen to know that they're also roommates in the same house. And the reason I bring that up, is because, first of all, Pete's been here a couple weeks now, yeah, and I see him in every group with a notebook, and I saw you, and I said, I see where he gets that. He's taking notes and asking questions, and I he and I have had some really good conversations. And when Travis came, Pete knew right away that Travis was going to go into his room before, when Travis got here, and he immediately took him and said, all right, I'm going to show you around and help you out. And I love that I'm seeing that right off the bat from both of them, because Travis was receptive to that. And I see Pete doing that, because that's been my experience here at McShin and in recovery in general. People who are starting to get that. And so I just wanted to give that little bit of a shout out, because I know things about where everybody is, and I love that about your two sons. So there is another comment up there, Justin, if you want to pull it up, see real quick. And what does she say? Tracy Novak says, thank you, Nathan, Karen, and everyone with McShin Foundation. Love you all so much. So good to see you, Tracy. Yeah.
Hi, Tracy.
So those are just some thoughts, and isn't that neat?
The top question.
Well, go ahead if you want to read it up there. What did she say?
Okay.
Further up?
Yeah.
Well, all the way up? Let's see. All right. So, hey, y'all. Hey, hello, Moses. Just, Debbie, you go to the one with Debbie right there. Yeah. What does she say? Go ahead, Moses. You want to read that?
Cambria.
Okay, Cambria, the next one.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's the most disappointing to see someone so committed and full throttle for a life of recovery. Then the next day, they're down a bad path and throwing away their recovery life for something so temporary. It's sure to cause permanent damage. And of course, the person who's involved with the drug doesn't realize what it's going to do. They forget that, and they're struggling to find out, how can I make this different? And abstinence just seems to be the most supportive path for that. Again, the drug is so dependable.
Yeah.
The person gets the effects, and it does what they want. I can remember when I first drank, and I thought, oh my goodness, at last I'm a part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, where was I before then? Obviously in pain. And then here comes this chemical that wipes it away. I mean, it's gone for a few minutes anyway. And then more pain comes. But being attracted to that first relief is just, it's uncanny what the drug does. unconditional love and release of expectations for your child, that seems really tough for loved ones. And what I notice is that when a family member talks about their loved one, it's as though they're still a baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's as though they're still a baby, and they're not. So what makes sense to me is that having time for them to grow up, that's going to take some time. So what better way to spend my time than to grow up also, to learn a little more as the process continues, because we can do it together.
Nathan talked about his mother participating in her own 12-step. My mother did not do a 12-step program, but she did create a network where she felt safe to talk about what was going on with me and her actual feelings about what was happening and how it was affecting her. And I'll tell you what that did. When she started focusing on her own kind of recovery, if you will, it really gave me permission to really focus on mine. Because until she did that, I was worried about working the recovery that she expected. And it doesn't work that way. I had to really, as Moses said, do some real self-discovery and feel my own skin. And her ability to, like I said, get her own network and start to work on her own recovery, it gave me that space, but it gave me a model. She was modeling a behavior that I needed to be doing for myself. I'll tell you, last month she came to visit me, and for the first time in my whole life, we never turned the TV on. You think about that. She spent the night in my apartment. Go figure. And we never turned the TV on once. That tears me up thinking about it. I never thought I would have that kind of relationship with her. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Someone mentioned arrested development, and what I think about with that is when a person starts using, emotionally they stop growing, and that doesn't end until they're in remission, recovery, so that they can get time to get on board with living life and progressing the way that we hope they would. It's not thrown away, it's stolen. It certainly seems like it. It certainly seems like it.
Moses, you
Yes.
had mentioned, we're still growing and all that. And I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine. Actually, it was last night. And I was telling her that, like, I'm almost 41 years old, and I've been using for so long that I've forgotten who I actually am, like who the real person, who Justin actually is. And like, I'm on this like discovery mission now of actually trying to find out who I am. And it's crazy. I'm starting to actually understand who I am now. And it's like, I wish I had found this person years ago, you know, because this person is pretty awesome, you know, and like it's just, it kind of goes along with that, you know, that growth piece that you were talking about. You know, it's like a growth, but it's also like a discovery of like I said, who you actually are.
I like that word discovery.
Yeah, yeah,
Because that's the process.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get to discover who I am and to experiment and to have challenges and face them,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is what I haven't done before. I'm pretty sure my wife would say I haven't done it yet. You know, and I can understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Because I don't meet my own expectations.
Right.
Because I think that my expectations are the same as those who gave me my values in the beginning.
Yeah.
So you tell me in recovery, don't try to catch up. Just try to catch on.
Yeah.
And for sure, we talked about love last week. Allowing a person to catch on. That's a process. And there'll be many changes that the person experiences.
Justin, I've been saying for a couple years now, this journey of self-discovery, I am definitely meeting the most interesting person in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
I feel you on
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm starting to like that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You even said it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. When in working with loved ones, what I prefer focusing on is not the person who's ill, but focusing on yourself. And what are some discoveries that can be made? Because it's what happens, just like for the person who's addicted. The person who has raised them, who has loved them, who has been there as support for them, there are some new things to experience also.
What Justin, you're covering up that last comment there. All persons of trauma, thank you, Justin, have to discover who they are. No time limit. Congrats, Justin. Hi, Karen and Moses. Miss y'all. Stacy Nardi. I recognize that name.
Stacy is one of our loved ones.
She comes to.
Oh, now we have a book up here. Let's go ahead, Justin. Put that on there. Let's read that.
Bam.
Another one from Siobhan Allen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I've never tried to do anything with all my heart, but as an addict, I tried to recover and I failed the first time. It hurt me so bad because I knew when I used that first time, I was letting everyone down. The worst part of that moment was that my closest family members let me know just how disappointed and done with me that they were. Oh, yeah, right. That's my thought.
That one hurts.
I felt even more of a failure. Coming back into recovery, I found that my failed attempt has been reason for my own vigorous application of the recovery process. Thank you, Siobhan.
So well put.
Yeah.
What do you, as parents, what do you hear for yourselves in the comments up here, but also in what we've been talking about? What do you hear for yourselves?
That there's hope.
Sorry.
That there's hope. But again, it's something that is a step-by-step process that they have to embrace, and they have to be smart enough to lean on the people that have been through it, that can help guide them through the process, especially while they're here, because they got to get the strength when they do get out in the real world.
What about you?
And what about me? I can be more understanding, certainly,
Of whom?
of my role in helping, in my role, you know.
I just think that's excellent.
It's
Great place.
but it's going to take work for all of us.
Oh, sure.
All of us.
I think of here at McShin, we have an intensive phase of the program, and it's so short. It doesn't take long to get through it. But I was told in the beginning not to put a time limit on recovery, because as Siobhan said, I surely will be disappointed. There's no doubt about it. But to allow one day at a time to pass, and let's take a 10 step at the end of it. Let's see what I've done today that I'm not so pleased with, and how I can do it better the next time.
What Sarah's saying right there is something I was already thinking about when I saw that. But Travis coming here filled us with hope.
And my experience is that hope grows, especially when a person stays with the process. What happens with loved ones, as well as with those who are ill, is that we stop. We're not involved in the process anymore. And that's where we lose our way. I think that anyone can recover, but how long will it take? It's different for every person. You know, it certainly is a journey. Certainly a journey. And to have someone there on the journey is, I think, wonderful. The 12-step program talks about the therapeutic value of one recovering person helping another is without parallel, and I believe in that wholeheartedly.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that none of us has to go through this alone. You know, I'm grateful for that. I don't want to be by myself in this. And one thing I know recovery has allowed me to do is understand my feeling and accept that I have these feelings that are uncomfortable sometimes, maybe even a little scary. It's okay. We're human. We all feel it. And through recovery, we get to actually express it and become closer because of it. How amazing. How amazing.
Takes a tribe, Sarah says.
Yeah.
Or a herd.
Or it takes a herd. It takes a herd. Did you my question earlier was what have you heard for yourself, you know, in this that we've been talking about, and do you want to add anything? You want to and swing that around?
Sure.
By the way, what you're experiencing here is we don't have soundproofing in the room here, so sometimes you're going to hear the thunder or the people down the hall, and we have to turn the AC off so it doesn't blast in the headphones. So the room is slowly getting hotter and hotter in here under these lights. So apologies to y'all.
You're fine. It's actually nice to hear that my son is actually able to help and mentor somebody new. I've been in your shoes. I was the new parent at the parent meeting, very tearful. And I expressed I think you were here last week, Karen, because she had helped and had worked like how many hours straight, days straight, volunteering and helping because they just are completely helping all the time here at McShin. But the first night that he spent here was the first night I had slept soundly without waiting for that phone call to ring. I've been called, him being shanked, being in the emergency room, sleeping on, being stomped, being jumped, sleeping in parks, sleeping on the street, everything. So that's where my son's life has dwindled from. So if anything, you could take from this, there, like they said, there is hope. He's going to get that intense. They keep them busy here. That's one thing my son has said. Wow, we are busy. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Yeah, that's great. And I really had to take that step back. I brought him here. I brought him through the doors, and everything he has done since, it's because he's wanted. There's no bars on the door. He's here because he's wanted to be here. He could walk out of here at any time. There's nothing stopping him. So he's here because he wants to be here, and he's felt that support. Has he shared, openly in a meeting? Probably, maybe not. I don't know. But it's at his pace, and that's the other side of the coin that I've been able to see that everyone's, recovered at their own pace, and they're able to express themselves at their own pace here too, which I think is a great thing too. So you guys, I think here at McShin you guys have tailored this program as well, even though it's kind of set up at the same time, but I think everybody's been able to recover at their own pace too here. I think that's great. But as a parent, I've really learned that we've had to step back, and I've had to learn to love myself and to know that this isn't my fault.
Good point.
He's not here because of me.
3 C's.
He's here because of the disease. My husband and I could not have done anything else differently. I can't blame myself anymore. I've done it too long. I can't do it no more.
What are the 3 C's, Karen?
Oh, I didn't cause it. I can't cure it.
And I can't control
I
it.
can't control it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I've embraced it and I've accepted it. I don't shame myself for it. And like I said, and I do say, my son is getting help, and I am proud of each and every day that he stays sober. And I hug him every day that I see him. Like, he showed me his chain of all his little the little tabs, medallions. And I was like, I am so proud of you. And he's like, for what? And I said, because you have stayed sober, you're on your right medicine, and you're going in the path and you're taking it one day at a time. I couldn't be more proud of you. And he was like, wow, really? I said, absolutely. So that's all you can do as a parent. And his little 13-year-old brother, who's bigger than him, is like, I'm so proud of you. You're my brother. I have my brother back. And I think that's what pushes him every day. So
McShin is the first exposure that I've had to a peer-to-peer recovery community. And I really have enjoyed this time here and seeing how others are able to embrace this and to make good of it. I am totally sold on this.
my son's actually wanting to work here, like wanting to give, or even to give back. That is his goal, because that's the child I've raised. But he just wants to give back because of what he's already learned from being here. I mean, not maybe now, but down the road, once he gets himself settled.
I think of reciprocity. One who much is given, much is required. And that's what we learn. We can't keep it unless we give it away, or at least that practice has some spiritual gains, in my opinion.
Well, I see that we have two more comments over here, and I'm seeing it's also just about the 8 o'clock time. Do you want to look at those last comments there? No blame. Bust the shame, train it kills. Can you open something in Southern Virginia? I'm headed down as MATNP. Sarah, that's a great question. If you can hit me back at Nathan M at McShin.org. That's NATHANM at McShin, MCSHIN.org. I might be able to help you find some resources down there. As we're getting to that point, I think it's just about the end of the time that we have here. We don't necessarily have to close out, but I want to close out online. Are there any questions, any thoughts, Moses, that you want to ask of our family members, our loved ones here? Any final thoughts from the family members, loved ones?
Just grateful that you're here, and want to encourage you to keep coming back so that we can continue to share, and let's see what we can learn.
Yeah. Any final thoughts here? Yeah.
Pray for my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will.
Well, the beautiful thing about this group is that, Moses and Karen, or sometimes Moses and somebody, but it's usually the two of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have this family group and have been doing it for a while now at this time. And this is the first time we're doing it live through Facebook, and we've had some hiccups. So thank you so much. I appreciate that y'all, doing that with us. But it just shows, really the lengths of the family involvement necessary. And I'm grateful for the family involvement, and that I now have healthy relationships with boundaries with my family members, boundaries that I've set for me, and family, that they've set for themselves. So thank you, Justin. Thank you to our family members here, Karen and Moses. Thank you so much for participating. And everybody, Karen, did you want to say anything? Sorry, I didn't ask you. Did you have anything final thoughts?
Oh, I mean, just my usual. I'm really grateful that you guys are with us. I hope you keep coming back. There's a lot to learn, and really would like to be part of your journey.
And we are online also on Wednesday night. We weren't able to do it tonight, but we welcome you to go onto the website and locate the YouTube
The Zoom link.
Zoom link so that you can join us next week.
Apologies for that. We had a snafu at the end there, or at the beginning, and sort of threw off that. But we did this, and I think just listening and reading the comments here, and of course your participation as well, I think it's been a neat experience. And one last thing that I'll share with you all. So this podcast, obviously goes out live through Facebook. We take the information and we throw it. It goes onto YouTube, but then we pass it to other podcast distributors, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, et cetera. But our biggest audience, and this is actually why I love doing this so much. And everybody who listens to me knows what I'm going to say, but our biggest audience is actually individuals who are currently experiencing incarceration. And what we do with this is we give this to a distributor who has tablets in select jails and prisons across the country, and we give it to the company, I guess, for free, and then they distribute it for free, so that individuals who are experiencing incarceration. I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. Experiencing incarceration. That means it's time to end the show. Get a little bit of a hope shot. And now we're experiencing, we've been doing this now for over a year with getting into the jails this way, as we had to close down with COVID. Now we're getting individuals here who have seen our program and come because of that. And so I didn't tell you that in advance, and I apologize. But I think that just that little bit of hope shot for the individuals who are currently incarcerated is really important. And thank you for participating in that. And Justin for being open and talking about what you have. And of course, Moses and Karen for just bringing yourselves, which is, as we know, is enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A shout out to all the people in jail.
yeah.
Hang in there.
It's a vicious cycle. I can just tell you, my son being incarcerated, I can speak firsthand. He has seen it is just a vicious cycle. So once they do come out of incarceration, if they can come to any program or something of this nature to break, you can end and break the cycle. I'm just going to speak on that.
Yeah. Hang in there. Recovery's possible. Jail's part of my story, Nathan's story. It's part of a lot of our stories. And it does not have to define us.
Tell you what, but it sure has driven me to do some of the work that I do now.
Yeah.
So with that, we are going to make this a regular feature. I'm not sure when the next one will be. We'll let you know. It may or may not be next week. Are we going to do next week? Yeah. So we will do this again next week. And I think you had a way that you want to do this. Hopefully we'll get some things ironed out, but we're going to make this a regular feature. And we'll see you the next time. You can also catch Getting Heard live 2 o'clock Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Wednesdays are Women Wednesdays. We love that because our women in recovery do an incredible job with women with issues that are really important and just talk about women issues, and that's fantastic. Tomorrow we have some of our RSW, some of our current participants who have just recently come out of a jail or prison pod, and we'll come and talk about what life is like now. So thank you all for watching and participating and daring with us with all the little blips, but I think it was a really awesome show. Thank you all for being here. See you tomorrow at 2.
Bye.
Bye.
My name is Shannon Lance. I'm currently here in recovery at McShin Foundation. I got out of jail on January 10th, 2021, and while I was incarcerated there, my mother passed away due to COVID complications on December 14th. It was a really challenging event in my life. While I was incarcerated there, I watched the recovery videos and the podcast on the tablets there, that was made by the McShin Foundation. Getting the Heard podcast really made me feel like I was a part of something on the outside because, there's people that are commenting and just seeing, people that I was incarcerated with on the videos and just thinking, man, that's going to be me, before too long. And, I'm going to be sitting there in them rooms and, be able to be a part of the podcast and Getting the Heard series. And, now I'm a part of the Heard here at McShin, and it's an amazing feeling, and it's nice having a fulfilled sense of hope in my life currently, and just to live one day at a time, and just to have positive feelings in my life and good relationships with my family and friends is an amazing event.